So to me, I always like put it like this when it comes to Republicans and Democrats. Like Republicans lying about what they doing, and like Democrats lying about what they did. You know what I'm saying? Like they already did it. Now they lying about it. You know what I'm saying? Republicans is getting caught like, we caught you, but we're not doing that. That's not what we're doing. Here, take this money. Come nigga go. You know what I'm saying? That's the way they work to me, and that's all I've ever seen when I pay attention to politics, is that. And let's be clear, one thing for people in the audience, I'm a firm believer that most people only align themselves with what benefits them anyways. Yeah. So if you run blue or red, you most likely probably get some assistance or something like that from, so you run blue. Me personally, I believe black people have been really, really misinformed on the blue, because our blue heritage comes because we seen one of our leaders shaking hands with the blue person. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how our heritage runs with the blue. That's why most black people are running, supporting blue, is because of that. What they don't tell you is Kennedy really didn't have no time for all that, because he was dealing with the war ordeal, and they was already talking about replacing Martin Luther King as the leader of the civil rights movement anyways, which is what Malcolm X was telling everybody before they killed him. So anyways, you're misinformed about your loyalty to the blue, period.
Oh, no.
And the red don't like you because you're black. So
The red don't like you.
So, when you start talking your own party like Tupac was, you get paka.
You get Tupac.
That's what you get.
Tupac.
Oh, y'all want to be your own entity? No.
For no reason.
So, that's, I believe, if we were ever going to talk about the empowering and bringing up of the black community, that's the only way that'll ever work, is we need our own thing. Because they're both got their thing, and they're trying to sell you an impossible dream. Now, it was real easy back in the day to get that American dream when there was red line neighborhoods, and white people can go to black neighborhoods and commit mega crime and not get charged with nothing, but you use the wrong bathroom, you go to jail. So it was real easy to reach that dream then. You're not gonna reach that dream now. There's so many things in play in the system to try to keep that from happening. Think about it. I lost $800 in one of my checks. $800 is gone, like dispersed. How far along I could be doing things with $800? It's pretty far.
Another check.
That's another check for some people. Like some people ain't even making that a week. So what I'm saying is, it's these things get put in play, and we want to blame a president because really that's what he's kind of there for most people. Yeah. To hate somebody from afar. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate you. You know what I'm saying?
They either play the role of the scapegoat or the face of
the evil.
I mean, like, some people is like, oh, well, it's because of him that we're out of this. It's like, no, I mean, that was going to happen regardless. He's just the one that was there at the time. Oh, yeah, by the way, just to throw this out there, I think it kind of got away from us, but I wasn't saying we should keep immigrants here. I was just more talking about what people were saying while they were behind it. It wasn't like, hey, bring them all in. Hey, come on.
And on that note, I also wanted to inform people that the fear-mongering labeling ordeal is actually doing something that they've done before, which is everyone is the same type of thing. So a lot of people don't realize that there's a difference between someone trying to sneak in this country illegally and like stay here and stuff like that versus someone seeking asylum to the country.
Yeah.
Because they're actually going to go to agents and stuff like that and go through the courts to try to get the work visa and then eventually the actual citizenship.
Real quick on that though, a lot of people that I've talked to that have been like completely against immigrants, they're both. Whether you're a refugee, whether you slide in.
That's what I'm saying. That's
like, I've talked to a lot of people, even some Hispanics, that was like, no.
Right,
Like,
yeah, that's what
you
I'm
know,
They
just
say it a
because
lot.
you're, you know, something's going on where that don't mean you can come here. Like, that's what we're built off of.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, you have a judge that made them bring a woman and her daughter back to the United States because he was supposed to hear their case on them trying to escape the gang violence in their city. And he was like, nah, I'm subpoenaing y'all, bring them back because I was supposed to hear that case.
Yeah.
And it's like, for people, for me especially, I've worked around a lot of Mexicans. It's like, they'll tell you, like, yeah, man, some places just riddled with drugs, you know what I'm saying, riddled with crime. And so they, like, why would I stay here? Because if I go somewhere else or try to go somewhere else, it could be the same thing. Mm-hmm. Let me go here because they're sold on this imagery of the United States that we know ain't true. You know what I'm saying?
It ain't true, but the same way everybody lying, like it was, because that's the whole reason for Ellis Island in the first place. You know, for refugees or people. You know, the reason we even came here because we was refugees. The original thieves. The original thieves.
We weren't refugees.
No, we wasn't. I'm just saying, like they
no,
were.
I'm talking about the American, like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the Americans were the original refugees, and then we wrote all the laws letting refugees come here. But yeah, the original thieves.
Yeah,
there was somebody already here,
we were the original
and then
thieves.
we came trying to get away from something, and then took what they had from them, which is pretty much what we were trying not to happen over there.
No, nigga, no. Let's just keep it plain. If we're the same team, you know what I'm saying. If we're running the same team, which is the American team, we're the original thieves, nigga.
Yeah, we're the original thieves.
There was loads of people already here.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, the reason we even came here was to get away from something, from a problem life or from issues, to have a better chance.
Basically,
When we
tyranny.
wrote
Tyranny.
that,
We was leaving tyranny to get here.
Right.
Yeah, we escaped tyranny. You know, a dictatorship practically. You know, or a monarchy, same thing. But to say, you know, give me you're sick, you're hungry, the tired, blah blah blah, the little refugee credo, whatever it is.
That's what Trump
and then say we don't want you here. We don't want to see it either. You know, like that's where either the hypocritical side comes in, or just a straight up lie. Like, yeah, we're keeping this here. You know, we never took the Ellis Island down. We never took any of the reasons down, but like, we're not letting you do what we said we're going to do.
Let's be real here. Let's be real.
I have a theory on that. Go ahead.
Let's be on the real. Actually, I believe Trump should be the person that like rewrites that and like bring us only your best and those who can accomplish. You know what I'm saying?
Bring us
like,
the best of the best.
I
of
see
the best.
him being the person who could actually do that. I'm actually down with that.
I mean, but the way he would rewrite it, like, I don't know if he's just coming off this way, but he's like, he probably would let nobody in.
No, what I'm saying is,
I mean, like, look at how he talks. Even if it's an act, like,
right.
that means it's dictated by somebody else or something else.
Well, it works though. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, what I'm saying is that's a mindset. If he talks like that and acts like that in the public eye,
No. We need to understand
stuff that
Trump.
he writes.
Let's be real. If you know anything about Trump's dad, you know what Trump is. Period. So let's just be real with that. Like, I know people be like, he's not a racist or he's not this. If you know his dad, kicking it with the KKK, stuff like that.
No. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what he is.
That's why if he rewrote it, it wouldn't be to anybody's benefit. It'd be like, bring me the if you look like me.
Bring me the Canadians.
Bring me the if you look like me.
Bring me the Canadian.
Bring me the more millennials.
But anyway, what I meant to say is, let's be real. The United States is one of the most lazy countries ever, because let's take the national anthem for instance. Everyone, if you don't know, should already know about the third verse of the national anthem and what's in it. Okay, it wasn't for black people. Let's just put it to you that way.
No.
So instead of just being like, hey, let's completely erase that from history, or let's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, we just won't sing that part.
We'll just cut it out after that.
We'll just stop the song right there. Can you imagine like the first person who like the last person get that memo and they're out there singing and they start singing the third part?
No.
Everyone's looking at him like,
Cut his mic.
nigga, we sent the mail out.
It's like, I don't check my mail till I get home.
Black people looking at him like, oh, for real?
Oh, so that's how we doing it? Okay.
Get this baseball.
Right in the streets tonight. Right in the streets tonight. Go ahead.
So,
Finish that.
So we need to just be real that America being built off of dreams, that a lot of stuff that is written is a dream. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I think there's this imagery of the United States that people see or things like that, and they still believe, and then they get here, and it's kind of like,
oh no, wait! I didn't know it was gonna be like this.
I was kind of lied to.
Well, I think that.
How far is Canada from here?
Well, no, it ain't even a lie. It's that you're not fulfilling your end of the bargain. You know, was it 7 pounds? Do what you promised me. And that's the only thing that fit. Anyway,
good job, Fresh Prince. Thank you.
Wow. Anyway, that was literally the only thing that fit right there. That's the only time I reference it. No other reason. Like I was saying, it ain't even. It's not a lie in the fact that it was said. It was a lie in the fact that we don't hold up that end of the bargain.
Well, when you look at, I guess the reason why I hit on Mexico a lot is because that's not only our neighbor, but that is the most struggling economy out of Canada, us.
Oh, three of us, hell yeah.
Okay, so when you have like the current president right now of Mexico has a lower approval rating than Donald Trump. Why is that? It's because it's heavily tied with the cartel. The Mexican government is heavily tied with the cartel. Not only it's drugs and
real quick, that and there, you talk bad about the president, you might get shot or disappear. Like here, you can talk bad about the president. Yeah, that too.
Well, then when
they're all
that,
connected though.
When you look at the issue that's going on in Mexico and people are fleeing Mexico and then they're coming here and then they're saying, well, we want this and we want that. We escape this, we escape that. You essentially basically are ignoring the problem. You're saying that, well, I got a problem at home and I'm not going to fix it, so I'm going to stay at my friend's house.
With that right there, talking to quite a few people, there are places that try to fix the problem, but kind of like here, the government just adds to the problem.
Well, it crushes you if you have any type of... You can't stand up to the cartel
but how can
and
you
the government.
fix that if there's nothing you can do?
Well, but we're seeing it in our very own place right now. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's... Like, there's been places in Mexico where they arm up and they keep the cartel out, but then the government rolls in and takes their weapons away.
You know what they have? Mexico has one of the strictest gun laws possible. So whenever you start coming in, like Chicago and Detroit has some of the most strictest gun laws, but we know people are getting murdered, like, in a weekend. How can 60-something people die? Oh, well, we have strict gun laws.
There's other stuff to that, but
okay. No, but I know what you mean. But what I'm saying is if a citizen cannot arm themselves, which is why the Second Amendment is so strong here. Because whenever people start advocating that we don't need guns and we need to start taking it away, then you give the government power. Yep. And when the government has power and people who are in power want to keep power, they're going to take away your ability to stop them.
That and, well, really to go deeper with it is when they have too much power and you lose what you have. Because the government is supposed to be, like, the whole reason for the democracy is that y'all have the authority, but we gave you we have the power to change that. It stopped working a long time ago, but that was the original thing behind it. Once they start saying, "Oh wait, you can't do this, you can't."
Well, there's
do
no
that.
check and balance in Mexico. Essentially,
No, not at all. The check and balance it's to the same person.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like when you have the authority to write your own check. Financially speaking, you don't necessarily have any fire up under your butt to go actually do work. If you say, hey, I know that I'm supposed to do this, but I don't really feel like it today, but I'm still write my own, I'm gonna still pay myself like I did, then one, not only is there nothing to challenge that, but there's also no benefit from it. Like for anybody else, like say for example, you had your own business, you never showed up. But if somebody else missed, then you would dock them, but you would still pay yourself You know, like you were actually on the payroll. You know what I'm saying? Like that wouldn't benefit anybody else but you. And with them, with Mexico, whether it's the cartel that's running it, whether the president runs the cartel or whatever, however it works, like he's his own check and balance, so he can do whatever the hell he wants to. Nobody can actually say, "Hey, I don't like that." Dead.
Well, here's the thing. It's what we see in Mexico is what the U.S. is essentially headed to. Because
if they take away that Second Amendment, you can almost guarantee it's
because
going to fall through.
A lot of people don't know that the so-called cartel was first the actual like freedom fighters against the corrupt government at first, and then it became kind of like, you know, power corrupts absolutely.
Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
So then therefore when they got into the position like, okay, now we can blah 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 yada yada yada, and it's like, yay, we're free, how you gonna feed us, or how we gonna do this,
There's a product,
how are we gonna do that, and then they were like,
there's a product and there's a market. The
there's
United
a product
States was the
and there's a
market.
exactly. So if most drugs are consumed here, you see what I'm saying,
But most of them are made elsewhere.
and most are made elsewhere. So it's like, well, if we do this, then we'll just do this until we can, you know, do this and do that and do this. And then it became money start flowing in. People start getting greedy. You know what I'm saying? They start bringing in the old members of the government to, you know, to learn things and to deal with the other relations. And then you just end up back in the same spot.
See, this is why socialism would not work. Because when you give people the ability to have absolute power over a people, then you're essentially saying, oh, this person is uncorruptible. We're going to put people in position. Because if socialism was something that was implied here in the United States, that means Trump would be in charge of your health care. Trump would be in charge of your job, because there's certain socialists who believe you should have a government job. Well, what's the purpose of having a government job if knowing that you're still going to receive a check anyway? If you come up with an idea and you make $1 million, here comes a socialist and be like, well, you don't need that much money, so we're going to take half of your money and we're going to disperse it amongst people who are just not able to work, or people who choose not to work, and that's considered socialism.
Right.
So it seems like that's more of a socialist idea, is that, okay, well, I have a product, I need to feed people, and I need to make sure that I stay in power. So I'm going to take all my resources and I'm going to sell it and I'm going to disperse it, and now I get to make sure that people are going to keep me around because I'm feeding them. I'm taking care of them.
I also believe that there's certain like trigger words with some people as well. Like gun control is a trigger word for some people, because one, guns are already controlled anyways.
Yeah, you can't have an RPG
Unless exactly. So
unless you use I think it's L1, R1, L2, R2, up, down, left, right.
Left and right.
Thank you. If you use that code, I don't know, you might have to cut that. It's gonna jump cut real quick.
No,
Unless
kids
you
gonna
right
be there
back.
like kids gonna be at home. What did he say? Bring it back.
And we're like, stop, seek, play. Okay, I got it.
But let's be honest. Like, let's say if someone said, we need gun reform, and this is how we're reforming, right? You can't have any violent felonies on your record. Okay, you can't have that. Every member in the household is allotted 1,000 bullets for whatever. You know what I'm saying?
For anything?
Like, no, like that's how much you get like a year in bullets
Per person?
per person. No, I'm just using this as an example.
Yeah, okay.
Like for per person, right?
Automatic weapons is like 2 minutes.
So it's
One
like
day.
if you really look at the U.S., if someone brought like just a list of things and was just like, we should use this to bring in gun control, somebody instantly be like, nope. Gun control is a trigger word. You know what I'm saying? Just like war on something is a trigger word. So if there's a war on crime, the people who are listening to that, they imagine a war. You see what I'm saying? And if this thing doesn't stop, that's what we're going to see. So it's a trigger. You can write something down that'll be like super generous, or almost the exact same thing that you have right now, and be like, we should use this for gun control. Nope. Nope. No gun control. No gun control. We're not even looking at it. Just like when they went around, it was like, so are you for Obamacare? No. No. So what about the Healthcare Act? Well, that doesn't sound too bad. You know, I think and I mean, they went around Tulsa doing that on the radio.
Well, what they did is they changed the name from Obamacare to the Affordable Care Act.
The Affordable Care Act. So there's certain trigger words. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest. How many people in the United States gonna use 1,000 rounds? Unless you are just like someone who does it for a hobby.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a hobby or you're a competition shooter, you'll use that.
And you go to the range.
Right.
A few times a year.
The only third person that has that type of stuff is people who buy it up to sell it when it gets to a higher price on the market. You know what I'm saying? They flip it. They flip the guns. They flip the ammo. Those are the only three type of people. People with guns for household defense. Nigga, I got 50 rounds up there. I ain't even shot that gun yet. You know what I'm saying? If you need 1,000 rounds to kill whatever's coming at you, nigga, that is Nemesis, nigga. That's Resident Evil, nigga. That ain't no junkie. That ain't no home invasion.
Yeah. I'm gonna break in. I'm gonna break you.
So then you can take that entire situation and be like, well, if you want, you do it the Republican way. If you want over 1,000 rounds for your hobby or for your competition shooting, you have to purchase a special license to be able to get it. We'll charge you per year for it. You know what I'm saying? Like a driver's license. You still got to pay for that. We'll charge you per year for it. And the government going to make money off of it. The state's going to make money off of it. But if you do that, if you can bring up something really reasonable, and then you just say it's gun control, people just swipe that mug right off. Swipe or no swipe? Swipe that mug.
Because I think the reason why is because I can look at things from the Republican point of view. The reason why Republicans, for the most part, especially gun activists, hear anything with gun control and they say no is because they know it's never a stopping point. Because if you say, like, we'll take that premise, all right, 1,000 rounds a year. Okay, all right. If we give you that, then there's another mass shooting by a guy who had 1,000 rounds. Then they're going to come with, okay, how about 500? So
work their way down.
Yeah.
Like,
so whenever it goes back to the First Amendment. Free speech is free speech, but then when you start bringing in hate speech, they look at hate speech the same way they look at gun control, because gun control is a step in on what you consider your Second Amendment. Free speech or hate speech is a step in on your First Amendment.
It's giving them an inch.
Yeah, and so when you do that, people are because Mexico has strict gun laws. So does Canada. If you want to go hunting in Canada, you have to keep your gun locked in your car, and then a ranger has to come and give you your gun whenever you go to the range or whenever you go hunting. Like, it's very strict up there in Canada.
And look at those two different
duality
there. And that's crazy. They both have very strict gun rules.
Well, let's be real here. Because
I don't think you can even own a gun in Mexico. You can own one in Canada. Some countries you can even own a gun in rounds, and you actually have to keep the gun. I think it's
the UK you can't have one.
Yeah, you can't even have a knife there.
Japan you can't have one.
You can't even have a knife in the UK now because they're like, you could kill somebody. Like, dude, those terrorists who go over there, they're just getting like, oh, okay, I can't have a gun, I can't have a knife. Oh, okay, well, I can get this acid, I can splash this girl, or I can just get a box truck and just mow some people down.
I'm gonna just sharpen
if somebody wants to kill somebody, it's
you
not.
You gotta find a way. Yeah,
you're gonna
kill somebody
find
with
a way.
the handle of silverware.
Yeah,
bro, it was done with a rock.
Dude, yeah.
So I mean,
like,
if you want to kill somebody,
nice
if
bow,
you want to kill someone, you can kill someone. Like, I completely understand that. Like, we're not. You don't see us like. Well, we have a shit ton of rules for driving vehicles, but like about vehicular manslaughter. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the thing about it is you got to follow the rules just enough to get the license. Once you have the license, it's free range. You have to decide to follow those rules.
Exactly. So if you're like, I got my license. Now that school, that you know what I'm saying? Like, you can do that. You can be like, scissors. You know what I'm saying? You can do it with anything. Like, let's be real. Like, if someone did a mass shooting on a school and they only killed 13 people, it's people in China killing 22 people with knives. You know what I'm saying? It can always be done.
Stealth kills.
My thing is already controlled. Almost everything is already controlled. It's the trigger words you have to figure out where you can just be like, bro, you didn't even look at that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't even look at it. And they're like, well, if you do that, then you want this, you want that. I'm like, man, look at every bill that's passed. That mug would be like 900 pages, and they read the first 5 and be like, good, and just stamp that mug in. And then if you actually go through it, you'd be like, nigga, in 2025, we all got to get amputated arms?
Wait a minute, I didn't sign up for that. Yes, you did.
Where did this come from?
Well, Nancy Pelosi, she famously said about Obamacare, she said, we have to sign it into law for you to know what's in it.
I know, I heard that. She
was like, we have to sign it into law before you can actually be able
I'm like,
to read
so
it.
y'all not reading laws now? I'm like, so that's how we feel about just signing just up? Just like,
if you want to keep your primary care physician, you can keep him. That was a lie.
You can do this. Guys, listen, it's been 2 hours. We on page 97. Christmas is 2 days away. Good.
It's like, I gotta go.
And they do it. Like, they do that. Like, they do that every law that comes into play. You can cut taxes. You can do it on a tax law. If you start reading that whole mug, you're gonna be like, in 5 years, you're gonna be cool 5 years, but after that 5 years, they can be screwed.
5 years in one day.
Well, I think that's the biggest problem in the black community, because if we say things like we don't like our judges, did you know a judge can get recalled? We don't like our prosecutors because our prosecutors have a high rate of trying to convict black people. Mm-hmm. If we don't like these people, then we need to get out there and vote. When you look at Black Lives Matter, like Black Lives Matter, and then we're like either protesting or we're burning something, or we're not necessarily effective politically. And if you can get inside of politics and you can be like, okay, this judge here, all right, let's just say this certain judge has 87% conviction rate of black males, but his white male counterpart, he's only convicting 40%, and the crimes are the same. Well, if you get a petition together and you get this judge recalled, because there was a case in California where that swimming student, he was raping a female, and the judge only gave him 6 months, and then the kid only did like 30 days or something like that.
Brock Turner?
Yeah, the Brock Turner case. Yeah. So that raised national outrage, and he was the first judge to actually be recalled, and there were other judges be like, y'all shouldn't be recalling him. That's not a good idea. That's not a good idea, because then people started becoming aware of like, oh, if we don't like the way that you're convicting people, then we can get you off the bench. Oh, perfect. So other judges was like, that was a threat to their power. So whenever, we as black people, if we see certain judges who are consistently coming against, like, we need to know who our sheriff is, we need to know who our prosecutor is, we need to know what's going on at city councils, what things they have planned for us, because what does the Bible say about knowledge?
That's our
biggest flaw.
That's where I believe things will begin to change in that area. Do you remember, we're coming off a generation where they weren't considered even equal. They couldn't hold no offices. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're coming off of that generation. So now that is getting further and further away, people are beginning to learn, like, hold on, nigga, you work for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you work for me.
I can get enough people and I can have you removed.
Bingo. You see what I'm saying? Like, easily. So, like, one dude was like, we always try to go after presidents. You know what I'm saying? He said, to be honest with you, like, let's be real. In our dark lives, we're talking about these 3 presidents, right? Mm-hmm. What did Bush do that affected you negatively?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I can think of only one. Is them high ass gas prices, because when niggas paying $5 for gas,
man,
that was
ridiculous.
That was. I mean, when I was walking, I was like, "Ha, you niggas!" But once I got a car, I was like, "Nigga, this."
Maybe like a few months later.
Hurricane Katrina played a huge role in that too.
Right. So that's the only thing I can think of. So let's get over to Obama. I already said it was the
Affordable Care Act.
That's the only thing that hurt me. I saw my insurance spike.
Dude, there's people talking about they spend like $13, $14 a month. The Affordable Care Act like raised ourselves like $200, $300.
Bro, you should have seen what it did.
You should see the
like
premiums.
The price of like medicine. Like, there was some people was like, I was only paying like $250 for my monthly medicine. Now it's like $750. I'm like, God, that's my rent. You know what I'm saying? Like,
The
So
Care Act was
the
nothing
Affordable
but it.
Care Act is the only thing.
It was only affordable if you didn't have a job. If you stayed at the house and you got like SNAP benefits, you got food stamps, everything like that. All right, I need to go to the doctor.
Well, you gotta look at it this way as well. As far as that goes, the Affordable Care Act only targeted working class people, anyways, because people who have money, who are rich, have their own health care. They have their own doctors.
Yeah.
Like they're not like us. We're not relying on the
And
company
the
to pay
thing about
half
it
and
is,
stuff
when
like
you're
that.
rich, you don't even need like a health care package. You just, what is it? How much it costs?
Right, like
Take
your
care of
doctor, your personal doctor,
Yeah.
is
You're-
going to be able to
You,
do
you have a family doctor and it has a different meaning. They
And
come to
then
you.
whatever he can't do, he's just going to refer you to
somebody
another
else, like, hey, take
specialist
care of them.
who does it. You know what I'm saying? So forth and
Yeah.
so on. So that just targeted working class people.
Oh yeah.
Period. And as far as Trump goes, Trump hasn't done anything yet. Well, he hasn't been there long, but there has not been anything that was done yet.
Well, the taxes is actually going to help us next year, especially on the child tax, the child credit tax. So that's actually going to be positive next year. Actually, our taxes have dropped at least 2% this year because those tax breaks affected anybody. I think he was making more than like $35,000 a year. So we actually saw a reduction in taxes for us this year. Check kind of increased like $20 or so. But I'll take that.
Take again.
Yeah. But I'll take that. And plus, I think he removed the Affordable Care Act as actually being mandatory. Because if you didn't get the ACA...
Okay, yeah, I'll give him that
Yeah.
right there. I forgot about that, yes.
Yeah,
He
if you
removed
remove
that
the
fee.
ACA, you would actually get charged
Right, you're getting that fee.
like $1,000. Oh, you're not paying for our
So-
Medicare? Taxes.
So, therefore, that fee's been removed. I forgot he did. I completely forgot he did that. Yeah, so that's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? He can get up there and say all the niggas, stupid stuff you want to say, but that's a good thing. What will he put in play that may be negative? Don't know yet. Ain't been there long enough. You know what I'm saying? We've learned that Obama writ something in that wasn't used until Trump got in. You know what I'm saying? Bill. Same thing with Bush. Bush was, Patriot Act. You know what I'm saying? And then Obama was like, I'm going to take that away. You know what I'm saying? And then it was
Nothing but it.
actually,
Let's just add into it, the
let
surveillance
me
state.
Add into it. You see what I'm saying?
Watchdogs.
So therefore, to be honest, we as in people, we concern ourselves with things that, that's what, 8 and 8 don't really affect us. But then we got governors, mayors,
City council.
city councils. We have police chiefs.
Yeah.
I mean, we got what was it? Was she governor right now? Don't want to pay teachers.
Yeah.
So
Mary
they want
Fallon.
dumb. Yeah. So they want dumb kids. You know what I'm saying? Like we have issues close to home that we can actually really change and do things that actually will affect us more closely to where we are. But like I said, we're coming off that generation who never had that. Like when they were given the right to vote, they were getting beaten, killed just for showing up at the voting places. So coming off that, and the further that gets away, I believe, like I said, the further that gets away, and then with the Obama, the image of the black man, the conscious black man, that will begin to change.
And I think
over time.
I think what's going to happen is they keep on saying that because Trump is this and Trump is that, there's going to be a blue wave, which basically means there's going to be a new wave of Democrats that's going to hit the actual Senate. And I don't believe that's going to happen, because what I believe that's actually going to happen is more and more black people are going to actually start flipping from blue to red. And the only reason that I believe that more black people are going to start doing that is because the rhetoric of the blue is, you don't like this guy, he's racist. You don't like this guy, he's racist. He's this, he's that, and that. I can honestly say that the term or the flowing theme of, if you're a straight white male, you're racist. And that has been something that's almost been hammered consistently this year, even by black leaders, like a black congresswoman. I'm
Talking about that loud one?
Man, yeah.
We don't even talk
What
about
is her name?
I
It's
don't
not. Her name's not Condoleezza
She
Rice.
looked like she belongs on Tales of the Crypt.
Well, anyways, there's this black congresswoman, and she says if you see somebody from the Trump administration, you go yell at them. You gather a crowd. You let them know they're not supposed to be welcome there.
They're not welcome
And
there.
when you say something like that, okay, woman, remind yourself that you are in California and you're only protected because you don't live in the hood whatsoever. You stay in Beverly Hills and you're rich and you don't even stay around the same constituents that you're representing. Okay, now let's rewind you back 50 years and let's say you're in Beverly Hills and you're in a Coachella store and they're like, what are you doing here?
Exactly.
She's doing the exact same thing. Yeah, she's doing the exact same thing that she wants people to do to Trump that she doesn't want done to her. And it's like more and more black people are not going to start calling every white person racist because not only do we have white people in our lives whatsoever, there have been monumental strong white men who have influenced either black culture or who have played important roles in our lives personally.
Let's be real.
Even with that, matter of fact, we were just talking about this a few days ago. Me and Mel and other people at the studio. They were actually it was one of his students. Is
Maxine
mixed.
Waters.
Yeah, one of his students is mixed, and her dad's white and her mom was black. Well, they ended up having to go through a Black Lives Matter like this past summer, like rally over there in New Orleans. The train that was heading towards Bourbon Street, like it was blocked because they was having a rally. It wasn't like they were trying to block changes. That's where they were, and he was like, he had to walk through it, and he was like, well, obviously, I don't have a problem with black people. I got, everybody every day is black. Got a lot of friends, but whatever. He's like, but I was scared to death. He was like, and he's like, is that wrong? Like, how did y'all feel? He's asking me, man, so how do y'all feel about those? Like, the ones there actually kill people, so you have the right to be scared. If you don't know which one you're dealing with, assume it's the worst. Yeah. Now, don't say like, everybody I run into, but like it was clearly a Black Lives Matter, around the what's his name statue.
Robert E. Lee.
Robert E. Lee, yeah. I was like, we were just talking about Robert E. Lee statue. Like, it wasn't even around the statue. It was in the vicinity, and it just happened to be blocking the trolley also.
I think Black Lives Matter is one of them groups that kind of got lost in transition.
It started off like had a good thing, but like everybody started popping up with that guys. Oh, we're Black Lives Matter. Let's go do stuff.
I think it was they had a good reason, and then the implanted blue wanted to utilize Black Lives Matter to their.
You hit it earlier. You said it's fear.
Yeah,
and what it is. It's the fear of you cannot leave the blue because if you go to the red, they're all racist.
Right.
And that's why I said I believe that more black people are going to start departing the blue because they're going to stop fearing into this narrative of every white person is racist. Because if you start, we all know what the devil does. He has to separate. He has to divide people, and even. You might not understand my culture. You might not season your chicken right. We might have just differences in things in life. But still,
there's a difference in opinion. It's not like that every white person just can't cook.
Well, no.
Okay, but real quick before I forget, the whole reason that came up was because we were also talking about the fact that they make it seem like what you were saying, like when every time you look up, it's portrayed as every white male is racist. Usually when they make it seem like that, it's the opposite. Mm-hmm. Because we've run into way more cool white people, way more like, and then when you first encounter it, it's like, oh, he was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And it happens over and over again, like, okay, something's off.
That's all perception.
And then once you realize, oh, okay, so it's only a few of them. And that anytime you see something that doesn't seem just 100% cool, you're like, okay, he might be. You automatically go back into that mindset, like, okay, I gotta watch out for him.
I personally believe that it's all kind of perception. We were talking about, me and my homeboys were talking about it the other day. Like, I come from a place and lived in a place where my house was right next to what they would consider Murder Drive. You see what I'm saying? But you're talking to somebody who went into Murder Drive every single day, played ball, walked around, hung out, stuff like that, kicked it with people, so forth and so on. So it's all about perception. So think about it like this. You have a person, like let's say something is said about the white culture that's in a negative light. Let me use something that I've seen. Like, if black people are so angry, how come there's always just male white school shooters? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So let's use that. So then somebody will counter it, and they'll be like, well, here goes the statistics for Chicago. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you have looks like a white person that probably lives in like Wisconsin, trying to show their bias, who live in a neighborhood, probably got no black people in it, who they're only really encountering black people is probably grocery stores and traffic. You know what I'm saying? Because real statistics show that most people in the United States still live like 13 miles from their parents' house. So that means a lot of people ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going anywhere. So therefore, there's very few people who actually get out and get their mind changed and see the difference.
Are exposed to a different dynamic.
Right.
Because pretty much, unless your city is super segregated, like, no matter where you move, you're going to at least have some semblance of what you grew up in. Because, I mean, look at Tulsa. Like you were saying, you know, the area you grew up in is supposed to be horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Johnson Park was like that growing up. We would go hoop there all the time.
That's what I'm saying. That's all the perception.
That stuff, when it went down, it went down.
Right.
But it wasn't like niggas was getting killed like 10 people every day at Johnson Park. No, it was just like you knew it was a higher chance of something happening, but you knew what to look for if you're from there.
Right.
Nobody who ain't from the area or who didn't know somebody from the area or didn't have an idea of the area would just go up to Johnson Park in the middle of the day or at night. You know, you don't do it.
My thing is, like, when I start traveling and working as much and stuff like that, I would get out into the areas and walk around.
Oh yeah.
Whether I wasn't, you know, whether the place was supposed to be bad. I mean, from St. Louis, KC to Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Indiana, certain places. I just got out and walked around, and what you notice is life goes on, and a lot of crime is always targeted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people think, oh man, 12 people died, blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is crazy. Like, well, there was a gang scuffle going on, and
everybody had weapons.
Everyone had weapons. The number
pretty
may
close
be
to each
high.
other.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Or so and so died. Or so and so got killed here or whatever. And they'll say the victim got killed. So what that instantly puts in the person's mind is that person's the victim. He was innocent.
Yeah. Yep.
They don't know that, nigga, this was a drug deal and this nigga didn't have the money, so it was a paca.
Or the stuff he gave him wasn't
on the level. Or wasn't on the level. Or
like,
you're wearing a wire, or you're this, or you're that.
Oh.
So it's a lot of crime is actually targeted. You're talking someone, I've seen someone shot right across from my house, and it was people washing their cars. They were at a car wash. I'm outside talking on the phone. Car pulls up. That's nothing new. You know what I'm saying? Words were exchanged. Pow, I look over. Pow, pow, pow. Car drives off. Everybody at the car wash was ducked down behind the cars, got out, start washing their cars again. It was targeted. Like, it was a targeted ordeal. People, that's what the whole fear thing is. The fear thing is
everyone's a target.
Like, that place is like this, and if those people come over here, that's how my neighborhood's going to be.
North side.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Everybody looks at the north side like it's like super bad.
Right.
Had that house for 18 years and it's never been more peaceful.
Like, I did that with Cody. I told her, I said, think about it like this. Let me tell you how controlled the mind actually is. I said, white people would instantly believe that black people are aggressive, angry, and super predators. From Hillary Clinton's words, they will believe that. I said they will believe that someone can put a chart up that says that black people do 50% of the violent crimes in the entire country. They will believe that. And they will be scared to live in a neighborhood with them of like, you don't want to live on the north side, you think it's bad. I said, but let me ask you a question. If we cut on the news, or if we go get a chart on what race has the most pedophiles, that chart's going to be mainly white. Most rapists, that chart's going to be mainly white. I said, so you mean to tell me you feel safe in a neighborhood with men that look like this with your kids? I said, that mind is controlled. I said, that's all that is. Your mind is completely controlled.
Yeah, that chart is so skewed because those two factors aren't included in it. if you they don't consider rape a violent crime, and then they don't consider pedophilia a violent crime.
Right.
Now, if you added those two to that whole violent crime chart, it would be completely skewed. So
88%.
that's exactly why they don't put those on there, and they want to say, well, the statistics say that only 13% of the population commits half of the crime.
Right.
Like, are you sure?
So that's a lot of crime. That means everybody got to do their share. Like, you know what? We got to maintain this 50%. We got to go beat up somebody's grandma, rob a store all in the same day.
To me, that
real.
shows you, because to me, isn't rape violent for the victim?
Yeah.
So then, therefore, that's letting you know there's something in the culture.
Oh yeah.
Like there's something in there that
like,
we can't include that.
Even when you think about that, the fact that it's not a violent crime, nobody's ever asked, like, I'm gonna rape you real quick, just stay still. Oh, okay. That's consensual. It's been, no, get off me. Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
Or a weapon.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's never been like a.
No.
Can you just lay down real quick? I'm about to rape you.
I mean, if we go to the PA, 300 priests just found.
Wow.
Sex abuse crimes coming out of Catholic Church. I wonder what them faces gonna look like. So you mean tell me you go into a place?
Even that, how many Catholic priests look different? Let's go there. How many Catholic priests don't look like all the rest of the Catholic priests? Let's start there.
It's almost a genre.
Exactly.
The
Catholic priests are all old white looking dudes.
They're all healers. Final Fantasy.
Wow.
they're Phoenix down. That's what I'm saying. Like, you go into a building, and we all know, like, the Catholic sex abuse scandal been going for so long.
Oh yeah, it actually got covered up. It's very interesting to hear that now, because I remember it was news, and then they just kind of like, you know what, be quiet with that.
Gone.
Like everybody was talking about
the dude who was sent in to investigate it. They wanted him to resign because he compared it to the mafia. He said the way y'all cover stuff up is like the mafia. They're like, oh no, you gotta go.
You gotta quit.
Why? You can't be here. But you would go into a building with a man who looks just like someone who's been abusing and raping girls and boys, and getting there and feel comfortable.
On the regular. Like every single
is control. That is how the mind is set up. Remember I said earlier, you lean over here, you lean over there. They've been doing it forever, and what is starting to happen, even though the generation is getting a little dumber, people are like starting to be like, you're just like him. Like Christopher Columbus was worse than Hitler.
Well, the thing about it,
this and that,
is even though overall they're getting dumber, what comes with that is
the reset.
Calling it, no, it's not even a reset. It's people are calling it like they say it more often.
Yeah.
Because with the smarter, it was always, oh, I don't want to offend, or oh, I don't want to sound a certain way, or I don't want to, just in case I'm wrong, paint him in a bad light.
I think that'd be a good thing that Trump does for his country too.
What?
Calling things as they are.
Yeah. There were people that voted for him just for that. I'm like, I mean, that's cool. But at the same time, like
I said,
there are times where he just opened his mouth and he don't even think. Like, don't mistake no filter for like a good thing in all aspects.
No,
sometimes you do need to have or no filter plus no chill equals like the best president ever. It's like, no, because people's, when they say that, it's always, oh well, so and so was scared to say this, so and so was. What if he said it to prevent everybody from getting bombed to hell? You know what I'm saying? What if he said it to, for a reason? Mm-hmm. What if there was a reason behind what he said? The reason you don't say whatever the hell is on your mind is because either you know that there's a consequence that come with it. You can't just walk up to any adult male, adult female, and say whatever the hell you want to. Either you get socked, punched, sack checked, or arrested for harassment. Like, so to say that that's okay for him, one, puts him in a different light, or puts him on a pedestal, whatever you want to call it. But two, that kind of that shows where your values are. Like, you voted for him because he says whatever the hell he want to say. And ain't scared. Like, what if that comes with a lack of intelligence to think 2 steps ahead and say, okay, will this get me in trouble?
The way I see it, I think it's part of his showmanship. It has to be. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna say this. I'm gonna talk tough. I'm gonna blah blah. Yada yada. But
it's the same way.
Let's be real. Let's look at things for how they are. He talked all he knows against North Korea. and was like, I got a button, I do this, I do that. But he went over there and talked to him behind closed doors, and then everybody came out cool.
Where's that button at?
And we can't say that Obama didn't do the same thing.
No, because Obama played strategic patience. That's literally his word, which basically means I'm just going to ignore it and pass it off to my predecessor. And I think one thing that we talked about earlier was that he doesn't that if Trump has this theme of racism to him, and now we're starting to get into trade wars, and the trade wars are very interesting, especially when you look at it from the China aspect on it. And then you start, we got some trade wars that's now going to start hitting the European countries. No. So when people say that, he's racist, but it's like, he's targeting European countries. So if Trump looks like the average European, then why is he targeting that country? Well, he looks at what they're actually doing for us, and as far as like the United Nations and how we've been paying all this money to all these other countries and nobody else is putting their fair share. So he's like, okay, until you guys start putting your fair share, then we're going to start putting tariffs on all the stuff that you get in because you guys are profiting off of us. And so the North Korea thing was a big thing because everybody thought that we was going to go to war with North Korea. And here's the thing, if you look back at the actual strategic of it, North Korea kept popping all those missiles off and all those nukes and stuff like that. They even started launching missiles over Japan, actually scaring people to where Japanese people were thinking they're about to get bombed. And so everybody started putting heavy sanctions on North Korea. Okay, and then Xi Jinping, who is the president of the Communist Party of China, he basically said to Kim, he's like, you need to come here. And so when he came there, they had a meeting. And then that's when Xi Jinping met Trump in Florida. When he met Trump in Florida, I guess whatever they talked about, they whatever differences they had because we was heading down a rough road with China. Okay, so then all of a sudden Kim Jong-un keeps on popping off missiles and stuff like that. And then, Trump says, hey, if you keep on doing, essentially, let's paraphrase, if you keep on popping off like you think you are, I'm not Obama. And I'm not these other people. I will go to war with you. And you know that if you hit any of our allies, we'll blow you to kingdom come. So whenever that started happening, then Xi Jinping and, not Xi Jinping, but Kim and Trump actually met. And so what was said behind closed doors, they came to a truce because Xi Jinping North Korea has the ability of saying, well, if you don't give us what we want, then we're going to do this to South Korea. If you don't give us what we want, we're going to do this to them. We're going to do this to them. And every other president has said, okay, we don't want no problems. Here's some money. We don't want no problems. Here's some money. Trump was like, dude, I'm not paying you anything. If you pop off one more time, because he told him, he basically put him in a bind. He's like, if you launch another missile to do this or whatever, you're going to have problems. It's basically said that hell and fury. You're going to have hell and fury if you pop off. And everybody who's looking at Donald Trump knows that, okay, this dude is not anybody because he was already rich beforehand. He's not somebody who can be bought. And so if you are actually considering playing with the United States, you're messing with the wrong one because that's not Obama. Because Obama essentially ignored you for 8 years while you did whatever. If you are trying that with Trump, a dude might actually do something.
Well, this is what I put. This is what I mean by this. But it's like, it's a show. It's a showmanship. Mm-hmm. We don't know what's said behind closed doors.
True.
He could slid a nigga briefcase the money, and he's out there like, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? He could have done it. He could have done it. He could have done it in secret.
And then right when he left, I bet you they won't do nothing.
But what I'm saying is, it's like he's trying to do the opposite because everybody was like, Obama's soft, Obama's soft, Obama's soft, because everybody in America wants to be the American badass. You know what I'm saying? We want to be the, puff our chest out, blah, blah, you can't mess with us, boom, boom, boom. Like, we don't want none of that soft stuff. But the thing is, you're supposed to get, if one thing you're supposed to get understanding, right? So, when the apologetic tour was going around, Obama was trying to go around and get understanding of what he was dealing with. Yeah, he did ignore North Korea. But the moment he said he's going to put sanctions on Russia for that whole incident, what was that? What place was that he went and invaded?
That was it wasn't Crimea. It was
Crimea, wasn't it?
Crimea. No, it was they annexed a part of it was part of a European country, but it was part of the old Russia.
Right. So as soon as that happened, all you hear on the radio, all you hear on talk radio, we finna go to war with Russia. We finna go to war with Russia. We finna go to war with Russia. Like, no, we're not. Like, no, we're not. Like, he gonna sanction him. Putin's gonna do what he's gonna do anyways,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna be over with. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be over with. Like,
Well, we're already in a
everyone
proxy war
knows.
with Russia, honestly.
That's what I'm saying. But everyone knows war ain't good for nobody. It's only the radicals who dumb enough to do it.
That's good for the war economy.
True, but like,
That's Metal Gear.
what are you going to end up with if Korea? Well, let's be honest. Let's be honest about it. What are you going to end up with if North Korea shoots a nuke and hits South Korea, and South Korea shoots a nuke and hits North Korea? You end up with no Korea.
No, yeah, I was gonna say North Korea minus South Korea. No Korea.
Resources lost, bro.
Yeah.
Like that's what you end up with.
Yeah.
No one in their right mind. You can talk whatever you want, or you can ignore whatever you want. We know down to it. We're gonna leave the Brunswick or whatever it was, or whatever he said we were gonna do, whatever. And I'm just like, bro, business is business.
Yep.
Business is business, period. I said, you're a great showman, but I guarantee you can put taxes and tariffs on Harley Davidson. You can put it on whatever country you want to do. You can put it on. But at the end of the day, business is business.
Mm-hmm.
These countries, we've seen what happens when you try to do your own thing under Hillary and Obama when they got rid of Gaddafi.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we know
Just destabilized.
what happens if you try to do the real thing. So everyone else is just doing the thing. It's okay. I mean, more taxes, more tariffs. I'm cool with that, and I'm all down with that. But I always say, look at the man at his base, and we're talking about somebody who had all them companies out of the country for a reason. Because he knows how the tax system works.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, he did lower the corporate tax. It was 35. He lowered it to, I believe it's 21 or 22% right now.
He gonna make that. He gonna make that money. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's.
I think that helps though.
He gonna make that money. So with me, it's. I had a great question for this. What would be some of the name 3 of the top things you would do if you were president?
Oh wow.
Just 3.
3. I think that actually requires some thought.
What about you?
The top 3 things that I would choose is if I could get a tax bill passed that would actually level out the tax code, because the tax code is too complicated.
Talking about like a flat tax?
Well, not necessarily a flat tax, but we need basically a 3-tier system. You know, you got your extremely poor, you got your middle, and then you got your wealth. And the variant degrees is too wide. It's way too wide, because if you tax the rich, they're going to move their money out of the country. That's exactly what they'll do.
Right.
If you keep the poor down too down, they're always going to stay down. And then the middle class always feels like they're going to support the poor. So essentially, you need to increase the gap between what you consider extremely poor and middle class.
Right.
I would say, you know, anything under $35,000 a year is considered poor, because that's essentially, you'll make like 20-something thousand a year for working at McDonald's. That's very hard to live off of 20-something a year, especially if you have children.
Oh yeah.
So middle class, you know, let's just say 35 and above, and middle class can go from 35 all the way up to 100,000. Because right now I believe it's like 35 to like maybe 75, and then all of a sudden you're considered rich after 75. But depending on where you stay, $75,000 might not be a lot in California or New York. You know, and you can't necessarily find $75,000 jobs in Oklahoma that you might be able to find in Silicon Valley. So that, and then honestly, any war that we're in at that point in time, we're packing up troops and we're going home.
Down for that?
We got to pull out. Like, bro, it's time to pull out. You know, whatever happened.
No more kids.
Yeah, we've got to do that. And then the third is, I guess it would be better of relinquishing a lot of the control that the government has back to the states. There's a lot of things that we've put in place as far as federal, like the federal courts have decided that it's decided for all the states. Some things that I would like, all right, it's time for the states to make their own decision on things, instead of us just being saying that well, we're going to make the choice for the entire country. No, there's 50 states, which means there's different provinces. The stuff that happens in federal court, like people in Alaska don't even consider themselves like Americans in certain ways because they consider us the lower 48. People in Hawaii are like, oh, yeah, we are part of the United States, but they're over there.
We're a U.S. territory.
We're part of
with more rights.
Puerto Rico. We're part of America. No, you're not.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird though how the only two states that aren't connected are like we're U.S. territory with more rights than the actual U.S. territory. Well, we don't kind of claim America sometimes. Well, the U.S. territories is like we're kind of like we're American, right? No.
Well, they get a Social Security card.
We own the land and the water around you, but y'all stay over there.
We've seen the ignorance of people in Puerto Rico. Most people didn't even know Puerto Rico was part of the U.S.
Puerto Rico, Guam, U.S. Virgin Islands.
Right, like a lot of people didn't even like know that. Even some higher up people. But anyways, what would I do? I'd probably be shot probably the first day. But
yeah, man, we about to.
I'm getting rid of the IRS.
Down.
100%. Well, I'm not gonna say 100%. I would keep some type of accounting, but I would definitely leave it more in the hands of the people to do their taxes. And because there's ways to track the assets, so we'll know you're lying. They already know it. So IRS got to go either away or down in some ways because they are a nuisance to the tax system and to the people. Because you're either getting screwed by them or getting over on them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's almost like no real middle ground anymore.
Wow. It is now.
Like,
because I know both sides.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's almost no middle ground no more when it comes down to the IRS anymore. So
it is not.
We'll take care of that. Second thing, I am definitely dropping the pay of all government agents and people who work within government. Pay going down. That's going to be like my tax cut. I believe one of the reasons why we have the issues with the government is people have become too away from the common man.
Oh yeah, there's a huge
gap. There's too big of a gap. I like getting a government job is just like so great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like no, like I believe that there's a disconnect there because let's see how you really live if you only getting like $1,500 a week. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna be able to pay that insurance on that Bentley then, will you? You know what I'm saying? And then as for the president, what do I need a bunch of money for if I got a plane, car, house, everything?
And ain't gotta pay for nothing.
And ain't gotta pay for nothing. For life.
Security for life.
Because once you become the president, you're security for life.
So I got security for life. So what do I need that for if I got all that? And then all I gotta do is like utilize my image to make money elsewhere once I get out of the presidency.
And it's always, no matter what, former president, blah, 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 this and that.
Right.
You know,
so
you ain't even, you said.
I mean, therefore, that way, that right there will definitely help bring people to a better understanding of one another. Kind of like you said, closing that gap that you have with the money making, will bring some people back down. And IRS, will take care of that situation. And number 3, I'm a man of knowledge. So, as great as I would want to pull all my troops out of every other place, I would probably redirect them at Rome. I want to know what's in that library.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to know, and I want to know by force if necessary. I believe there's some things down there that can really benefit everybody if we do what was down there. So I'm like, hey guys, we're going home, but first we're stopping at Rome.
But first, let me take us over.
You can't do
in
this.
Rome.
This is the church. Like, nigga, y'all raping our kids over there. Next.
Yeah.
I want them books. I want them copied, and I want them published. I want all the history that you're hiding. I want black people to have their real history. I want Mexican people to have their real history. I want all that, and I guarantee you that's what's down there.
Oh, yeah. They're considered their own country. The Vatican's considered its own nation.
Exactly. The
Yeah, you can take it. Like we're gonna take it by force, and I guarantee you the UN, a whole lot of other countries who have the knowledge or at least somewhat knowledge of what's going on down there. That'd be a war.
That'd be
You want to start a world war? You go after the Vatican.
Yep, that'd be a straight war.
Like, wait,
That's where I would direct all my efforts. I'm like, I'm getting that
all
stuff.
of them.
I'm
Find all the
getting it
troops, all of them.
Getting it out of there.
Mhm.
It's too much stuff. Like the reason why we have such an issue, especially within the minorities, the minority Americans that are born here, is because like white people know who they are.
Oh yeah,
Like they know who they are. Like
they,
we are taught.
like they freaking Dark Ages ancestors.
That's what I'm saying.
They
Like
got their crest, all that. My last name came
we're
from
taught their history.
Here. Yeah,
Like, so when you're here, you be like, yeah, we were in the Dark Ages.
That-
Like, to be honest with you, your ancestors never experienced no Dark Ages. You know what I'm saying?
that and
That's where the confusion comes in. You're trying to connect with something that ain't even there.
They stress that history is important. Your lineage is one of the most important things, and everybody but the minorities know theirs. And they make it well known. Like, oh well, we got this, and we blah blah blah, and our family crest was this.
There's one other group of people that don't know it and are, to me, I believe, like trained not to know it or not to care, and that's poor white people.
I don't know.
If you ask a poor white person like where they come from, it's probably their knowledge or what they know is probably going to stop at like a World War I, World War II, or a Civil
Or
War.
grandparents.
They ain't gonna know jack after that, and they don't even seem to even want to know after that. You see what I'm saying?
You know what's crazy about that? Like, I've always felt on some level that the ones that are there, like somewhere along the lines, there was a disconnect. Like, say for example, like a black sheep of the family or somebody who got disowned for whatever reason.
Bro,
And then, what's up?
I was gonna say, think about it like this: like a lot of poor whites were sent over here by transportation, which was basically a jail cell sentence. Basically,
That too.
you see what I'm saying?
Pete said something about that. He was like, the reason why the Irish and the Aussies all sound like the Brits is because they got deported to there.
Yeah, bro.
It was
like
all the ones that were he worded it a certain way. He was like, all the ones that was like giving us problems we sent to Ireland, and all the ones that were like, I don't know if he said in jail or something. There was another like basically problem group. They was like we all sent them to Australia. I was like, dang.
Dude, yeah.
'Cause I've always wondered. I was like, some
Dude.
of y'all lingo is very similar.
That's
you
what-
sound exactly the same.
Is what was done. Like if you start looking through the history, like with Scotland, Ireland, and like the British Empire, there ain't no love there.
No.
Ain't no love there.
It's,
You know what I'm saying? There's no
there's
love
a super, like a deep-seated beef.
Yeah, there's deep-seated beef there.
y'all
Like for real.
niggas, You mother.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, so people who were like committing crimes and stuff like that, they were sent to transportation, which basically you're just being sold to a ship captain to work on a ship, or if he sells you to in servitude somewhere else where he goes.
Mm-hmm.
So along them lines, that's where white people just like, they don't really care.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to know what my great grandfather did to get sent. Like,
Or
over
even going on that same jig, like because kids will know, kids will ask questions more faster than adults will, but I think it's the reason is because of the curiosity. Hey, where we come from? It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Where we come from? Oh man, don't let me get started on that. There's always those, even in families. Oh well, how are we related to so and so? Oh, that side of the family. Like there's always something. So even with like, especially that he said there was a specific reason one got sent to Ireland, and a specific reason that they got sent to Australia. And this was like years ago. So but I remember that they kind of stuck with me because after they got rid of him, I was like, I wanted to talk to him more because you learn a lot of stuff.
Things.
You learn, because I was like,
things.
and as a joke, I asked him one day, I was like, I got hired the week of the 4th, which is ironic because my last week was 4 years later. Happy anniversary. Okay, you gotta go.
Leave now.
Wait, what?
Out.
No balloons? No. Yeah, I was
know,
like,
the
y'all.
cake.
I was joking. I was like, y'all celebrate what do you call it, the 4th of July? He was like, oh yeah. He said we call it Good Riddance Day. I was like, damn.
But
Oh, okay, that's cool.
but yeah, I talked to a dude who was from Haiti. He was from over here, and it's a different mentality
Yeah.
of people who've actually fought for their freedom, taken it, versus those who were supposedly given their freedom. You know what I'm saying? It's completely different. It's the way they think about it and everything is completely different. Like, they basically was like, this is ours now, and if you want to stay here, you're going to be Haitian. Whether you black, white, purple, it don't matter. If you want to leave, you need to leave. You know what I'm saying? But, all right, how would you handle the immigration issue?
I would I would essentially take what's happening now as far as whoever's being immigrated, and I would basically put like a cap on it. I would like, for right now, until we restructure how we process people, we need to stop. Like, right now, we need to stop. We need to kind of like close borders. If you have an application in that you're in line to legally become a citizen, then we're going to start processing applications quicker. So we need to grow the ability to process people in, and we need to grow the ability to get people out quicker. Mm-hmm. If I have a center and you come and tell me that, hey, I came here illegally and I want to become an American citizen, just like what's happening now, it's like, okay, well, you have two options. If you've committed a crime, you're going to be deported, and then you're going to get to the back of the line. If you choose to still stay here, then I'm going to give you some options on how to become a citizen. If you're a male between 18 and 35 and you are fit for physical service, you're going to the military, and you're going to earn your citizenship through the military. Well, I don't believe in that. Okay, well, you can go home.
You don't have to believe in it.
You don't have. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can have.
You ain't gotta go home.
You have options. Okay, well, if you believe in having a job, okay, then we can find jobs for you, but this is your tax rate. You're going to have a higher tax rate until you become an actual citizen. We can make, if you really want to be here and you want to do things the right way, you're just basically going to pay a penalty for essentially cutting the line, because you have people over there in the Philippines, like Gemma. She was like, she doesn't like it because a person, all they have to do is jump a fence to get here. She had to wait years to get here. So if you want to come here, okay. If you want to stay here, then that's fine. You can sign up for military service, or you can sign up to be a Coast Guard. We can find some type of government job for you, and you're going to pay a higher tax rate. And then you are going to be on this system until you complete that. If you complete your term between these times, then we'll give you the opportunity to stay. If you quit, if you commit a crime or anything like that, then we're gonna put you. Yeah, we're just gonna send you away. So we'll give you an incentive to stay, but it's not going to be based off of what you purely want to do. If you just want to stay at the house and you want to get benefits and stuff like that, if you don't keep up on your taxes, if you don't do this, you don't do that. These are your lines to become a citizen. And if you want to be a part of this tribe, then you play the game. If you choose not to play the game, then we'll see you later. And then if you come back, there is no, I have family here. There is, okay, we're going to just put you in prison. And then people who are in prison for drug offenses, like for weed and stuff like that, we're going to start releasing people for drugs. Like, you're going to basically take the position of somebody who's in there on drugs. So one in, one out. Oh, okay. Well, we got Jose who came back here. Oh, he got caught DUI and he killed somebody. Okay, you're in prison. Oh, old dude who's in here for his third offense because he had a couple bricks of weed. Weed is like rampant and almost legal in a whole lot of places. He's out. You guys have switched spots. And I believe that is a, okay. Well, now you're here. You're not here where you want to be. But you're here.
And even that is probably a better situation than he was in. A better position.
What about you, Phil?
Me, the way everything seems, aside from the people who just, walk across, or, however they do it, or I guess fly too, right? That's
it's a thing.
Where like 60-something% of them like come over here by plane or by air.
Mm-hmm. Just overstay visas.
So like the wall wouldn't have even done anything, honestly, because they would have climbed it now. But
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Shadow cat. What I would have done or would do as far as immigration is concerned is as of right now, like everybody who's trying to do it right has to wait forever. And then every single person who comes under here and says they're a refugee automatically gets in. Well, with that comes people who don't. I would have it to where it's almost like a level of intensity. Like if you're just like, I don't like it here, you know, as a refugee, it's not really a refugee. You're just trying to like find another way around. You're just trying to find a better life. If like you don't know if you'll make it, you know, through the week, you know what I'm saying, or like there is something that's imminent, you know, you would obviously at least be allotted to the front of the line as far as refugees are concerned. Because as of right now, you slap that name on anybody and they're just, come on in. What are you running from? Oh, I just didn't like it there. Okay, that's cool. You know, or
Oh la la la, let me in because I am a refugee.
yeah, but no, that's a real song too, by the way. Actual lyrics. So with that, I think it needs to be some kind of order established, because I'm not saying that there's not, but just from what I've observed and what's available, you know, to as far as information, is as long as you're a refugee, you just come on, you know. I twisted my ankle here, so I don't like it here anymore. Let me in. Oh, come on. Versus, you know, like people is after me, or you know, I don't like the way that certain things was going. We tried to change it, and now they like threaten our family, burnt our house down. It's like we gotta get out here. Can y'all? Can you got a spot? Is there, you know, like a little shed in the back? Like that is more serious than just somebody who doesn't like their situation, you know. And I feel like there does need to be some way to expedite, even if it, you know, costs it more to people who are trying to do it legally, like to try to just come over here and become a citizen. Because like everybody I've talked to, you know, Gemma, there was a Hispanic chick, I don't know if you remember Esther. You remember Esther?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right before I left, she was, I think she was going to have to go back because they wouldn't renew her work visa, and she was like, I got kids here, all this stuff, and she was like, I don't even know why they're not renewing it, but they say I can't stay. And I'm like, why? Like, you literally work more than anybody here I know. So far that I've heard, there's never been any issues with you, your kids, anybody. You know, she's just there to work.
What year was that?
This was my last year at Arby's, I think, was 08.
So the beginning, 08, yeah.
Probably, I think it was 08.
Oh, during the Obama years?
Yeah, it was 08. But
Mr. Deportation Man.
pretty much.
Yeah, I knew a guy. It was before Obama, during Bush, but he was trying to get his wife, because he was legal. He was trying to get his wife legal. He said it takes like 2-3 years just to get through the whole process. So, there are a lot of people trying to do it right. You know what I'm saying? So forth and so on. My way of fixing the issue is so much more simpler, so much more entertaining, so much more money involved.
What you got to offer?
Basically, go down there with a bunch of buses, pick everybody up. I mean, come on in. This is how we're going to do it. Come on, straight. Drive through the U.S., you know, show them everything, and take them straight to Alaska. And then shoot a TV show called The Surviving Immigrant.
Oh my God! You can make it
Whoever
hit.
makes
We'll
it
let
from
you
one
in.
end to this end, instant citizenship. With whatever you got.
problem is doom doom doom. Ah, it's too cold. I wasn't ready.
Be driving by like, oh look, yes, look at this. Like, yeah. Over you left, you see the Empire State Building, you see the Lady Liberty, blah blah. Where are we going? What is happening? We gotta stop at this border right here. Go through Canada. We're gonna take you to your new home.
Wait.
Be on the bus. Be like, huh?
Wake up.
What is this?
I see dead people.
Welcome to the tundra.
Yeah.
Surviving immigrant.
Wow.
Cameras following them everywhere.
Find out next time on Surviving
Make
Immigrant.
too much money off sponsorships.
Wow. He said instance.
Instant
Like, well, what
citizen.
about all those people that you knew were gonna die? How does that work?
Hey, you sign a contract or
Like-
you stay where you at?
It was like, you wanted it. I can tell by the way you were dressed, you wanted it.
Like, look, I wrote it in 3 different languages.
I gotta learn
This is
Chinese.
I didn't say it was your language.
When
I
the
just said 3 different
day-
languages.
When the papers come out, you gonna speak Chinese.
What is
what
this?
the-
What you are? Yep. Make too much money. I mean, isn't that what the U.S. does? Exploit people's
Yep.
situations for money?
Oh yeah. Oh, you want to come in? Oh, cool. Come on. Yeah, that's
Straight signing the contract. I'm finna make this show.
What's up on this bus?
This show finna top Shark Week in this.
And they'll mess around like there'll be a charter bus and everything. The salad seats, the cushion seats, the
Everything.
TV. Are you hungry? We got
Straight
steak.
up.
We got pancakes. We got what you want? Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. We got it. Anything.
We ain't gonna
Okay,
spend
yeah.
no money,
I mean,
no
this is great.
government money.
Americans, a lot of opportunity. I like this. Wait, where we going?
We gonna be
I
putting-
said, can you drop me on here? You know, it's still right there. We
You
can turn
see
around.
the
You got to turn
California
around. I'll
palm
walk.
trees?
Yeah, like man, these
You won't
trees
be
are
in them.
amazing.
You won't be. That's not where you're gonna be at.
Californication. Oh yeah, wait, we still going
Summer
north.
edition, spring edition,
Wait-
30 days a
wait a
night
minute.
edition,
Wait, what is?
winter edition.
It's like just go to sleep. We'll
We
be there
got
by the time you wake up.
So many seasons lined up.
Damn.
Can you make it in 30 days of night?
Can you make up every time?
We can't see. Should have brought some flashlights with y'all niggas.
But I didn't know. We wrote it down.
Mm.
So it wasn't in my language, but you signed
What
it.
happens when we make it to Canada? That's a Canadian problem. That's not our problem.
Yeah.
They'll politely send you this way. Oh, you want to go this way? Okay. Here you go.
Well, they'll take them.
They probably would.
And it's like, oh, we
But
can
no,
stay
I
here.
would definitely make it really, really difficult to get up in this mug. Really, really difficult. I was just thinking, the American way, exploit somebody's situation for some money.
Like, and then make it so bad they have like a camera crew like right next to him. How bad do you want this? You said you wanted a better opportunity. Do you really want your people back where you from to suffer? Because you can't take a little cold? Yeah, you shouldn't have came here with flip-flops either though.
That jug of water he was carrying is frozen, isn't it? Huh?
It's like, stay hydrated.
Can't drink this.
No. It's like that little super thermos ain't
Straight
you right now.
beef.
It's gonna stay cold.
Straight being peach.
Get him out of here. We don't want to see him.
We don't want to see him either.
Y'all didn't want to see them in cages. I mean, at least it's open land out here.
It's true.
Yeah, they free.
They
Look,
free.
all you gotta do is cross this little state on foot.
Don't worry about the wolves. Don't worry about the
Oh, what was
moose.
that? Oh, don't worry about that.
Don't worry about
That's
anything.
that's a little audio recording we gained. No real wildlife. Out
Yeah,
here.
man,
I
out
don't
here.
see any people. There's people walking with you. Where? Turn around, pack of wolves. Wait, I thought you said it was. Oh my god. Oh.
Yep. I'm telling you, making all types of money. That money gonna be like the Olympics when I'm done. Rich.
It'd be like
All types of merchandise being sold. I'm finna boost the economy in this month.
Everybody gonna be living good.
That first winter gonna be like, yes. Yes, there you go. Now you gotta make it through Canada to the United States.
Still. No map.
No map. Better hitchhike, nigga. They nice.
Yeah, for real.
They nice down there, but hitchhike. Nah, I'm just joking. But I can see where everyone kind of lies at, a little red, a little blue. I'm like the color that's in between
Purple.
red and blue.
Purple.
You
Purple.
because I see the benefits of a good economy, and things like that. But the moment you want to sacrifice the environment for a good economy, that's a problem. Yeah. And I've been on that side. I mean, I've seen them take ocean water to do something and then just put it in a contaminated area and then just flush it back out into the ocean. And you're just looking at people fishing in it like, I wouldn't eat that.
Ooh,
Whatever you catch, I would probably toss it back.
Throw that back. Why does fish got 3 eyes?
I would definitely toss it back.
It's supposed to be like that.
I also see the benefits of trying to bring people to equal standard. But the moment you start trying to tell them how to speak, what they can have, what they cannot have, what they are, what they're not, that's control. No easy way to put it. It's still control.
No, that's what it is.
Yeah.
100% control. And that's not what any real free person wants, is for you to come in here and be like, can't have that, can't have that, can't have that, can't have that. And you can't call her that. And that is not a him, that is a whim. And, you know, like, you can't.
And, I mean, but there's already so much control as it is. They either call it something else or they say, oh, this is the reason why this is okay. In just this one instant. But there's so many one instance that is like, I mean, like, is there any real democracy left?
I don't know. The way I see it is we had a nicer speaking version of Donald Trump before Donald Trump, and he didn't get elected. And he even had the record to show, credentials to show, came from the bottom to show what he could do. Wow. And he didn't get elected. And
that's his basic observation.
And it was because the Protestants had an issue with the whole Mormon ordeal. But
Mitt Romney.
Yeah. And we're talking about somebody who dug Massachusetts out of debt. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who grew up poor. Somebody who was a missionary. Somebody who was a missionary. You know what I'm saying?
Overtime!
Work time.
Now let me work.
You know, someone who could give houses away, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
had
everything. Had everything. And it was like, nope, we don't want him because he's Mormon. But then the Protestants want to get someone who's like cheated on everyone in their lives.
Nothing at all.
You know what I'm saying?
See.
They want to get someone who did like cocaine, not Trump, talking about Bush. Bush was known for that sniff.
Kokity wokity. I mean, it kind of makes sense. He's like, fool me once. Shame on. Shame on.
It's probably why he.
Fool me can't go again.
It's probably what happened. They probably put him off drugs to run for president. His brain was just like, I need drugs, nigga.
I've noticed a lot of people, like, whether it's just because you're human and it's gonna affect you in general, as far as like basic stuff that everybody goes through, you know, the drug addiction, alcohol abuse, like stuff that you, for some reason, the average person is surprised when people, like public figures, you know, fall victim to.
I've been saying that for years.
I've noticed that, I don't know if it's just more often or the fact that there's less public figures than there are the public, but that like anybody, like almost like the higher you get, the more prone you are to that. It might be due to the stress, or it might be because you just was going to be like that anyway, you know. But it seems like, you know, in his case, it's just they just kept him on it regardless. You know, you were already dumb. Let's just continue, or this is how we gonna make you dumb. And then anybody else who's saying something of importance, well, he got some bad weed, and now he's flipping out. He's crazy. That means everything he was saying was crazy. That means like, don't listen to this fool. You know,
man, I ain't never understood that. I'm like, how you gonna be mad at Tiger Woods for smashing like 7 chicks, but you know somebody down the street that does the same thing?
Yeah, it's because people put public figures on the pedestal. Like the more you make, like the higher their regardless for. He's like,
I think it's the money thing.
That's what I'm saying. It's the money.
You know what I'm saying? Like you think money solves everybody's
problem?
problem?
Yeah, like
get rid of their vices.
You're
like,
rich.
No, nigga, no.
Why do you want? I'm still a man, and they threw this stuff at me.
I was looking at like I'm looking at this whole. I'm like, Tiger Woods was smashing chicks. Nigga makes $1 billion. Of course,
who
he's smashing
wouldn't?
chicks.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But you ain't mad at Tyrone
down the street.
Yeah.
Jason
or yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Alone.
You're not mad at them, you know what I'm saying? You propping them up.
Oh
you
yeah, oh my God, yeah.
Woods shouldn't be doing that. Or what's the guy, the motorcycle dude that got caught or something like that? customs. We used to make them custom motorcycles.
Oh, the West Coast Custom dude?
Jesse
Owens?
Jesse James, yeah. I
Jesse.
gotta go to rehab for sex.
James.
I'm like, bro, there is no rehab for sex.
According to Blades of Glory, there is. I'm a sex addict. It's a real thing. With
My
doctors and
thing is
medicine.
just like people just they crazy. Like, bro, you think like you mean tell me you got a chick drunk and you went and smashed, but then you like mad at Bill Cosby because he got
She doing the exact same thing.
doing the exact same thing. Like, is that how it really works?
Pudding pop in your pudding cup.
Wow.
It's horrible, Phil. Even I wouldn't go there.
Really?
I might make immigrants try to survive the Alaskan wilds.
That's worse.
I wouldn't go there.
There's no way you're trying to compare
I can't
them
believe that.
and make mine worse. No, that's
Yeah,
worse.
can't
Like, you
believe
literally just sentenced him to die.
I mean, but like you said, they just I've never got it. Like, how could he cheat on her? Blah blah blah. Yeah. I'm like,
Like, she might be fine as hell, but like,
she probably only wants a missionary. We don't
Yeah.
know.
he
You know
probably
what I'm
wants to
saying?
try some stuff, and
He
found
probably
somebody
wants to
else
try
willing to do it.
something else. You know,
Look,
like
I looked
I
in the
gotta
common
feed
literature
kids.
book, and
Oh,
they
okay.
said, for our height, this is perfect. Let's try it. Ew, no.
I completely understand. Anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for this like completely long video.
Sure.
that I'm gonna
Double
have to
long.
like
This is
completely
like 6
break up.
videos. Hey, we can just break it up from the topics.
That's what I'm gonna do.
There's a
anyways.
lot. I mean, what was it, like an hour apiece?
No, this is going an hour 30, and the last
hour
one
and a
was an hour.
Dang! I
So
thought
it was
just
2.5
2 and
hours.
a half.
2.5. Anyway, that's gonna do it for your boy. I'm Nixon,
Sir Cash.
Hey.
and we out.